Hello and welcome back to my channel. For those of you that don't know me, I am Lori Williams. I am a psychic medium, energy healer, animal communicator, and a spiritual guide. Today I want to talk to you about the one thing that you can do right now to start healing your anxiety. So let's look at what anxiety is. Anxiety is basically a cycle through our minds and our bodies of worry, panic, fear, all of that kind of stuff. Our bodies then release a hormone to help to balance us, to bring happiness back into our existence, and then that becomes like almost like a drug test, and we go on that cycle again. Now I do want to say I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, anything like this. Like, all this stuff is stuff that I've either read or experienced, or I experienced through helping my clients. And the one thing that I have noticed that has come up quite a bit with my clients is they need help with trying to stabilize that fear, to stabilize the anxiety that comes up. So let's look at what anxiety is. Anxiety is a fear of the future. We get into this cycle of worrying about what's going to happen. And I want you to take a minute, just 1 minute, and I want you to think about a year ago and what you were worried about. Most likely you can't even remember. But if you can, let's pretend that you can remember everything that you were fearful of a year ago. And you look at all those things, write them down if you need to, but I bet you at least 95% of them didn't even happen. We become fearful, we become worried about the future, and this becomes this, like I said, this panic cycle. But the harsh reality is most of that's not even going to come true. People that I have noticed in working with clients, people with um, that with anxiety, they struggle with people pleasing. That's one thing that is like unanimous across the board. They are all people pleasers. They want other people to be happy. And they feel that it's their job to make that person happy. They want other people to be, to accept them and to love them. And essentially, um, when if they start to feel like something is off and people aren't accepting them, aren't loving them, it becomes very, very overpowering. Now, is there with anxieties or one size fits all? Absolutely not. I know, like, when I was healing my anxiety, there was like multiple parts to my anxiety. I'm also a an empath, and empaths feel other people's energy, and that can be super overwhelming too. And that was actually a lot of my issues around being anxious, was the fact that I was taking on other people's energies. Um, so that's also a part of it as well. So, like I'm saying, I'm not explaining all the different aspects of this today. I'm just focusing on the one thing that you can do. So, with being a people pleaser, you're typically very, very serious. You're typically very hard on yourself. You're going to be very judgmental of yourself. In your mind, you're never going to be good enough. You're never going to measure up, all these things. All these things essentially that are not true. So, the best thing that you can do, that you can start to do right now, today, is to start to laugh at yourself more. Start to be more carefree. To step out of that expectation of perfectionism, because perfect doesn't exist. Perfect, the closest thing we have to perfect is ironically in our imperfections. So when you're trying so hard to be perfect and putting all this extra stress on yourself for something that doesn't even exist, it's time to start being able to loosen that up a bit, loosen yourself up a bit. Start taking life a little bit easier. Stop being so judgmental on yourself. If I've heard so much with my clients about how, they're doing something and their inner talk is just like bashing them one after another, like all these different comments of like, you're not good enough and nobody loves you. And I'm like, wow, like, and I mean, I get it. I've been there, but to know that so many people struggle in this area is just, it's so disheartening. It's hard to hear. But we have to take that power, we have to take our power back where we have power. And if you're recognizing that the negative self-talk there's a lot going on, like if you do something that you might see as stupid, it's like, oh my god, Laura, you're so stupid. Stuff like that, you're listening 100% of the time. So if you can switch that to just laughing at yourself in the most craziest, like, I don't care how big the stupid thing is that you have done. Laugh at yourself about it. Find the humor in it. Don't let yourself get to the point where you're putting yourself down. Don't let that be your last thought. It can be your first. Let it be your first. If, oh my God, Laura, you're so stupid. If that's your first thought, that's great. Then start laughing at yourself. And eventually, the laughing at yourself part, the taking things a lot lighter, is going to start to take over the negative self talk because you're staying on this cycle of having to please other people and needing that outside validation. And then when you don't get it, it becomes very anxiety driven. We all have fears of the future. We all have them. At different points in the day, we all have them. But if you can also bring yourself back to this moment by asking yourself the question of like, has it happened yet? Trying to find something to laugh about, trying to find humor in what's going on right now. It lightens up that anxiety. And anxiety cannot exist with laughter and fun and the high vibe, like the love emotions. It's a fear based emotion. The only way to heal fear based emotions is to bring in love based emotions. So, this is what you can do starting today. It's a simple thing. Technically, I guess this is kind of a two-part thing. It's learn to laugh at yourself and to be able to bring yourself back to the present moment. It's it may not feel like it's working initially. Give it a couple of weeks, give it 3 weeks, and see how this affects your life and how it changes your life. This is definitely one of those magic puzzle pieces that I wish I would have known sooner in my journey rather than later on. And that's why I'm sharing it as like one thing you can do today because it's valuable. It's a very valuable part of being able to heal yourself. It also helps you to reconnect with yourself, body, mind, and soul. There's a lot of different uses to this. And the truth of it is, like I said, 95% of what you're fearing is not even going to happen. So why worry about it? We'll handle it when we get to it. You know, it's because 100% of the things that you've already gone through that you thought you never would, you've got through 100% of them. Seems, very logical when you think about it. Putting it into practice might not seem so logical. So give yourself time and learn to laugh at yourself even when you mess it up. It's a good exercise to even start there. And have fun. Have fun with it. Have fun with life. This is the only chance you get at life. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. All right, that is it for today. I'll see you guys back here next time. Until then, take care. Bye for now.